remember telling Matt that he would never get over losing Hannah. He didn't need to stop loving her, but he had to keep moving forward. And that one day, yes, he would find a girl that was comfortable talking to him about Hannah, about his love for Hannah, but that his love for her would one day, this new girl, his new love, would eclipse, not extinguish, his love for Hannah. And I want to share a little bit of a personal story. A lot of times, I come from a Christian worldview, but there's an awful lot of Christian folk that, man, I'd like to smack them in the side of the head sometimes. They love to misquote Romans 8:28. It says, "In all things, God works together for good to them to those that love God, who are called according to His purpose." And they just like to say, "Well, in all things, God works for good." Or even go take it a step further and say all things are good. No, they're not. What happened to my daughter was the embodiment of evil and greed. But 8 years later, that grief is still very real. But if it was just my own grief, it would be easier. But it's not. It's my wife's grief of losing her daughter, grandparents' grief for losing their grandchild, but also seeing their children have to go through this as parents. It's siblings losing their sister. It's cousins losing their cousin. It's boyfriends losing their girlfriend. It's all these other losses. And on the morning of November 1st, 2016, I remember we knew that Hannah was gone. We knew she had been killed. And reaching out to Hannah's boyfriend, parents, and I said, "You got to get to Nashville. You got to get there now. Hannah was killed in a crash this morning. You got to get you got to get to him." And then there was Hannah's younger sister, a couple years younger than her, waking her up and telling her that her sister was dead. It was one of the hardest things I've ever done. But in all things, God can work together for good. I talked with Matt quite a bit over that first year and into the next, encouraging him, "Hey, is there a girl that you could just go on a date with?" I remember, I think we made a list one time of some girls he could ask. And then even dates, like going to Opry Mills and walking around seeing the Christmas lights. Just simple things. Just keep moving forward. And a couple years later, I was at church and I saw Matt. And then I saw that look that I had seen when he was following Hannah around. And he was following Annette, my next daughter. And I was like, I've seen that before. And before long, the two were dating. And, it's weird. It's different, but most everything about my family is a little bit weird, a little bit different. And I talked with Annette and Matt and just said, "Listen, there's going to be people, regardless of who you date, there's going to be people that are critical of your decisions." And they've been dating now for a few years. A couple months ago, Matt came to me and said, "Hey, I'd like to give Annette a ring." And last Thursday, this young man who I thought was going to be my son-in-law, because he and Hannah so in love, is going to be my son-in-law because he asked Hannah's younger sister to marry him. I don't get to write the story because I wouldn't have written it this way. But I want to let you know that yes, in all things, even the death of my daughter, God can work together for good. I'm super, super proud of what's happened with Matt and Annette, and just wish them the best.